Hello, good evening, welcome. This is Hot Edition. We're live from Yusabata Desawe Kanda, also live on Kesmi 107.1 in Tamale and beyond. We're live on W 93.5 in Wa and beyond. Your thoughts and views, comments, and also your thoughts are welcome. We're streaming live on YouTube at 3FM 927. Read out to you and to the rest of the world this evening here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. We keep tabs on how things are playing out with the beginning of the WASI today and the focus in these troubled areas where students are having to sit amid security protection from the Ghana Armed Forces. Ghana Public Road Transport Union says it is unaware of any transport fare increment despite 20% announcement. This evening, we engaged the transport unions over the supposed increment barely 2 months after fares reduction. Importers left stranded as the National Identification Authority disconnects the Ghana Revenue Authority from identity verification platform over 376 million cedis debt. Withdraw your termination letter or we sue after 7 days. That's the ultimatum from Evatex Logistics Limited to Ghana Airports Company as they challenge supposed cancellation of revenue assurance contracts. Stay with us. We've got details for you here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. As always, we have the latest in business and sports over the next 1 hour. I am Alfred, the consular, settled for a summary of the news now.
Thank you very much, Alfred. And we start with COPEC in our summaries tonight because they have rejected claims of a 20% public transport fare increase set for August 8, 2025. COPEC says no key transport union, including GPRTU, has confirmed the move, especially given recent fuel price drops from 15 Ghana cedis per litre in January to 11 to 12 Ghana cedis per litre. It called the proposed hike unjustified and urged broader consultations, noting that road tolls are not yet active and some drivers have already reduced fares by 15%. Now, CATS International has backed the Communications Minister's directive for Multi-Choice Ghana to slash DSTV prices by 30% by August 7 or face sanctions. Regional Director Apia Kusi Adomako argued that the city's appreciation should have led to lower prices. He said Multi-Choice's monopoly and lack of competition justify government intervention to protect consumers from excessive pricing. Also, ShopRite has confirmed its planned exit from Ghana after receiving a binding offer to acquire its local assets. The company, which has operated in Ghana since 2003, has classified its operations as discontinued. This move follows earlier exits from Nigeria, Kenya, and others, with ShopRite citing currency instability, high tariffs, and inflation as key challenges. And finally, at the Africa Health Sovereignty Summit in Accra, President Mahama announced 2 new health initiatives, a task force on global health governance and the Sustain Initiative. The goal is to reform outdated global systems and better align national budgets with health needs while attracting more local and diaspora funding. Mahama criticized global health structures for failing Africa and revealed Ghana has unlocked 3.5 billion Ghana cedis in extra funding by uncapping NHIS funding. You can log on to 3news.com for this and many more stories. Over to you, Alfred.
Let's get into it right now here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. And we'll start off from what's been happening with this announcement of a possible increase in transport fares. Now, public transport fares across Ghana may rise or be increased by some 20% effective Friday, August 8, 2025. Now, this follows a directive from the Ghana Road Transport Coordinating Council, that's a GRTCC, issued in collaboration with the transport unions and in line with the administrative arrangement on public transport fares. A statement signed by the Ghana Road Transport Coordinating Council, General Secretary Emmanuel Ohene-Yeboah and Acting National Chair Alhaji Tanko said the adjustment was driven by 3 key factors placing significant financial strain on transport operators. These include the lack of a corresponding drop in spare parts prices and services costs following a previous 15% fare reduction in May, and the introduction of the 1 cedi per litre fuel levy, which has increased fuel prices by about 8%, and worsening road conditions that have driven up maintenance expenses. Now, the new fares will apply to all forms of commercial transport, shared taxis, intracity buses, that's the trotros, long-distance buses, and the haulage services. Operators are also required to visibly display the revised fares at all loading terminals. The council is urging commuters, transport operators, and the general public to cooperate for a smooth implementation. Duncan Amor is going to be joining us in a bit. He is the executive secretary of the Chamber of Petroleum Consumers. COPEC is going to be joining us. We'll have a conversation on this particular development. And the GPRT as well, Alhaji Abbas Imaro, will be joining us to have a conversation on this development as well here on Hot Tradition on 3FM 92.7, because there are some transport unions who are saying they are unaware of this said increase. They don't have any idea of this increase that has been announced by the Ghana Road Transport Coordinating Council. So this is the development right now, and this is coming on the heels of the one city levy that was implemented. The implementation took effect in the second pricing window in the month of July, and this is one of three factors that the transport operators are referencing as a reason why they have announced this 20% increase in transport fares effective Friday, August 8th. Now, we will get some on this one, and beyond the statement that we have received from the Ghana Road Transport Coordinating Council, one group that has come out to kick against this, the announced increase of 20% in the transport fares is the Chamber of Petroleum Consumers, COPEC. They've rejected the claims of this looming 20% increase in public transport fares effective Friday, August 8. In a press release issued earlier today, COPEC stated its checks with key transport unions, including the Ghana Road Transport, that's the Ghana Private Road Transport Union, revealed no such decision had been officially taken. Let's go on to the telephone now. Alhaji Abbas Imaro is Head of Industrial Relations for the Ghana Private Road Transport Union, GPRTU. Alhaji, good evening. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, good evening, Alfred. Long time.
Indeed, it's been a while, but thank you. Thank you so much for agreeing to talk to us. First off, are you aware of this increase as announced of a 20% increase in transport fares by the Ghana Road Transport Coordinating Council?
Yeah, we have seen it, we've read it, but we are not part of it. Our leadership will come up tomorrow. So from tomorrow, we'll be talking about it.
So you have just read it in the news just like me, but you were not part of any conversation of a possible 20% increase in transport fares?
At all.
But you are the biggest transport union in this country, GPRTU. So how can a conversation like this be had without you?
Yes, you can straight away guess. You can straight away guess why and where the contest is coming from. So you rest assured tomorrow our leadership will come up and we shall bring it to the public domain. So tomorrow we shall talk about that.
I see, Elijah, I don't want to guess, but what do you think is going on? Why were you not part of any conversation of a possible 20% increase in transport fares?
Fred, we've been in this business for ages. So if I say you can guess the context is coming from, you really know what I'm talking about.
But our listeners don't know. So, Alaj, I don't want to second guess you. I want to hear it from you directly.
Alfred, you have been an ancient friend, and we are talking about it today. We have reserved everything. I'll break with you. We talk about it from tomorrow when our leadership speaks. You know, most often we speak about discussions. We speak about things that has been discussed, and then we put that into the public domain. So please to stay behind for today and start from tomorrow.
I see, but the release from the Ghana Road Transport Coordinating Council that you say that you were not part of, they cite 3 reasons for the increase in the transport fares they've announced. The 1 cedi D-levy that took effect in the second pricing window of July. They talk about the no reduction in the price of spare parts, and then the services cost as well. Are these concerns that you align with?
Alfred still want to hear from me. Why media people, you are very tricky. You have said something, I have also tell you something. You still want to, for sake of being my friend, I will just tell you one thing. If it will be very sad for GRTCC to speak about the 1 cedi energy levy, because these are people who came and meet fuel prices at 17 cedis a liter. And currently they were able to bring it down to around 12 cedis. Even if we are to add this 1 cedi immediately to make it 13 cedis, is 13 the same as 17? The answer is no. Alfred, I will pause here. You let our leadership speak, then we can also bring it to the public domain. I'll play with you. We've been friends for ages. This is about business. So.
And indeed, I acknowledge that you even gave me this hint. So are you saying that all of this bothers on some politics within the transport operators sector?
I've never said that. I've never said that.
No, because you referenced that. You referenced that.
Take it easy. You still want to force certain things out of my mouth.
No.
I'll play with you.
It's okay. It's fair. It's fair. I'm only saying that what you said that these people inherited that's petrol at 17 cedis. And now it's down to this price. So what's the justification for this increase they are talking about? And so if you say you, GPRTU, the biggest transport union, was not part of any conversation of a possible increase in transport fares, and then you direct me that I should know where it's coming from. I'm only asking if there is some politics in there in the transport unions, which is leading to what we are seeing now.
Ocansey.
Alhaji.
Please, let's put full stop here. I want my leadership to come up and we'll scrutinize it and talk about it.
Are you dealing with MPP, NDC politics in the transport unions?
Your call has been
Unfortunately, if anybody plant that in our business, you disgrace yourself.
Why do you say that?
Oh, yes, we are serving every government of the day, and we should not hesitate to say if something is right. We should not hesitate to say this is right. We should not hesitate to call something black if it is black. Alfred, you want to exhibit for the whole nation to see you are very good at your work. Please, let me hold on here. Tomorrow we shall talk.
I see. But you're saying emphatically that you're not aware, or you didn't sit through any discussion about a possible increase in transport fares 20% by Friday.
We are not part of it. We are not aware until we saw it and read it, yes.
Alhaji, I appreciate you for this.
That is surprising enough.
It is indeed, and this is why I bring in Duncan Amoah, Secretary of the Chamber of Petroleum Consumers. Duncan, good evening. Thank you for joining us. Hello, Duncan. Good evening. Hello. Unfortunately, we'll try to raise Duncan Amoah back on the telephone. Hello, Duncan. Can you hear us? Hello. We'll try to get Duncan Amoah back on the telephone. He is Executive Secretary of the Chamber of Petroleum Consumers, COPEC. They've issued a statement already. And in fact, the man you just heard is Alhaji Abbas Imoro. He is head of industrial relations for the Ghana Private Road Transport Union, GPRTU, for the past 15 years. He's held this particular position, and he's indicated that the GPRTU, which is by far the largest transport union in this country, was not part of any conversation about a possible increase in transport fares by 20% by August 8. This is Friday. Now, he says this is coming at a surprise for them. They also heard this news through the media, and they have not been part of any conversation prior to this announcement through this press statement that we have a copy of. So we'll try to understand what's going on right now, but that's what's it's at play at the moment. So stay with us here on Hot Edition. We'll get through to Duncan Amwa. He's going to be joining us on the telephone. We'll have a conversation on what he is also gleaning from how things are playing out in this said announcement that GPR2 says they are not aware of. Let's go into some more stories.
Yes, revenue assurance company Evatex Logistics Limited is rejecting Ghana Airport Company Limited, GACL's decision to terminate a multi-million-dollar contract and has warned of legal consequences if the move is not reversed within 7 days. The dispute centers on a revenue assurance audit agreement signed between the two parties on December 4, 2024, and subsequently terminated through a GCL letter dated July 28, 2025. The termination is to take effect on August 27, 2025. But the decision has triggered strong resistance from Evatex, which says it has already begun executing its mandate under the terms of the agreement.
We'll get some more details on this. Manasseh Azuri is going to be joining us in a bit. We'll have a conversation on this one as well here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7, also on Kesme 107.1 in Tamale and beyond. We're live on W 93.5 in Wa and beyond. Your thoughts, views, comments, and opinions are welcome. Go into some more stories here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. That's where the National Identification Authority, they have taken a decision that has impacted heavily on importers.
Yes, Alfred, because scores of importers and taxpayers have been left stranded at the ports. They are unable to clear their goods following a decision by the National Identification Authority, NIA, to disconnect the Ghana Revenue Authority from its identity verification platform. The move stems from GRA's failure to settle an outstanding debt of 376 million Ghana cedis owed to the NIA. As a result, importers and exporters are unable to complete mandatory verification processes required for clearing goods at the country's entry point. The action, taken in the midst of growing financial difficulties facing the NIA, marks a significant enforcement measure against another state institution for non-payment of services rendered. And this will also keep an eye on, Alfred.
Rightly so, and shortly, Samson Asaki Awingobit, Executive Secretary of the Importers and Exporters Association of Ghana, will be joining us. Also, Head of Corporate Affairs at the National Education Authority, NIA, Williams Emmanuel Ampoma Dallas, is going to be joining us. We'll have a conversation on this. Samson Asaki Awingobit is Executive Secretary of the Importers and Exporters Association of Ghana, is joining us on the telephone right now. Mr. Awingobit, good evening. Thank you for joining us. Hello, Mr. Awingobit, good evening. Thank you for joining us.
Good evening. Thank you for having me.
How has this decision by the NIA to disconnect the Ghana Revenue Authority from its identity verification platform impacted on your work at the port?
Well, Alfred, you know that anybody who would want to go in the first day on ICOM to process towards clearing of cargo will have to, first and foremost, when you go on the ICOM page, it's a web-based page, you will have to enter your PIN number. And the PIN number here is the NIA number. When one enters the NIA number, it takes you straight to GRA, and then it will hit the GRA portal through to the NIA database that is sitting at GRA for them to verify, to know that the numbers belong to Samson Asake. The card and the picture there is truly Samson Asake, and not that I'm using Alfred's own to do business transactions for purpose of tracking and tax audited. So what it means is that anybody in the port, within the port, outside the port, who wants to sit in his comfort zone and say, my goods is at port, I want my agent, I've given my data to my agent have taken my NIA number, so my agent will begin to initiate the process. You cannot, because that's the first thing. You must done that. The number must be validated, verified, before you can proceed to even set up a unique number. That's the unique consignment number that we used to talk about. And so if you are unable to be verified, then, of course, you are locked at the back. You cannot enter into the icons to do anything. So for all those who want to begin work today, want to do entry today, cannot because of NIA challenge. So that is affecting. And I'm sure, same thing. Remember, before we NIA came to being, we used to, if you want to register a company, we used to go on the GRA portal to generate what we call the PIN, the tax PIN, before you can proceed to register at the Register General. At the time, the GRA issued a statement that we are no longer having anything called PIN, but we have what we call the NIA, now becomes the tax identification number for every Ghanaian. What it means is that if you want to go on the Register General portal to register a company, you have to first and foremost give out your NIA number. That means that those who are also going to Register General to register will also have an issue, because that you cannot be verified, because it's the work of GRA. Then, of course, anybody who will go to your bank, maybe you want to open an account, you have to be verified, because GRA also gives this direction that you should be verified, because your GRA number is linked to your NIA number is linked to GRA. Remember that thing. So this is a huge challenge, and I'm so sad as a Ghanaian. I don't think this should happen. This is not private and public partnership. This is government to government, government agency to government agency. A CEO that was appointed at GRA to head as a Commissioner General was appointed by the President of the Republic of Ghana, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. Same thing that the NIA boss, the Executive Secretary that was appointed to NIA, was also appointed by His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama. For these two gentlemen, to help him deliver us from economic hardship. And so for these two agencies to be fighting in this manner that has to affect business community, I think that it will be a worrisome situation to every meaningful Ghanaian, and especially to the sector ministers. I'm told that NIA is under Minister of Interior, and then the GRA is under Minister of Finance. These two ministries should fasten enough and then call this their CEOs and their executive secretary to order for two heads to cool and let the work flow. Because what is happening is not affecting GRA, it's not affecting NIA, it's affecting the business person who has his goods locked up at the port that he has to clear to avoid the mortgage, to avoid rent. Will have to end up paying the mortgage and end up paying rent, depending on when this issue will be resolved. And I think that this should not, that the two of them quarrel or wrangling should not affect the business community. So the business person should not suffer in this regard.
It's a very important point to make, and this is where those questions that you're asking as to why there wasn't any, engagement, that is the government agency to agency engagement, even to avoid this last resort of a disconnection. That's the question that I put to the man who has the answers to it. Mr. Ngobet, stay a bit further for me, because Williams Emmanuel Pomam Dallas, who is head of corporate affairs at the National Identification Authority, NIA, is joining us on the telephone right now. Williams, good evening. Thank you for joining us.
Good evening.
Now, first off, had there been any engagements prior to this decision you took to disconnect the Ghana Revenue Authority from your identity verification platform, reason why this last resort was implemented?
Right, thank you very much. Let me say good evening to your listeners. Right, so this indebtedness predates the current management of the National Identification Authority. But since we took over, we sent a number of demand notices to the Ghana Revenue Authority. Let me hasten to add that the GRA is not the only institution that is owing the National Identification Authority. There are other governmental institutions that are also owing. For instance, if you take MOFA, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, They are owing us about 20 million USD. If you take the NHIA, they are owing us about 58 million USD. But they have shown commitment. In fact, just this week, the new director of passports had a conversation with the management of the National Identification Authority, indicating their willingness to engage us to see how we can all work together to offset the debt. Unfortunately for the Ghana Revenue Authority, all the demand notices we've sent to them, they've not responded to any of them. And we didn't get here by just taking a decision at the management level. We have engaged the Public Interest and Administration Committee of Parliament on this very issue. And they were also shocked that for 3 years, the GRA has refused to, as it were, pay the 376 plus million Ghana cedis to the National Identification Authority. And they have not even shown any sign of commitment. We didn't end there. We've taken it with our sector minister a couple of times. We have also written to SIGA. Our last letter to SIGA was on the 4th of June, 2025, on this same GRA indebtedness to the National Identification Authority. So clearly, it has been quite a journey. And so our last demand notice to the Ghana Revenue Authority was 29 July, just last month, of our decision to suspend them from accessing our data. Unfortunately, they did not also heed. So effective 1st August, we unplugged them. Now, the advantage they have is that when we signed the Memorandum of Understanding, we gave them a bulk data. So that data is what they're using to operate the ICOPs. After unplugging them, we've written to data protection. We need their assistance to go to DRA to get access to their server and take our data. So that even after paying their debt, we will not give them bulk data again. You will have to come to our verification platform through the API system so that they will not have access to bulk data from us. In fact, we've changed the protocols and we've written to the Ghana Revenue Authority that we are changing the protocols, so no more bulk data. Now, regretfully, even those in the ICONs, if they do update on the Ghana card, the Ghana Revenue Authority cannot verify them again because they will not get that update from the National Identification Authority. And as I heard the gentleman on the other side of the phone, he explained it perfectly. If you are getting into the system for the very first time too, you have challenge. And as I speak, just a few minutes ago, there were a number of people at our reception at the foyer trying to get us to rectify their issues for them and all that. We do not want to get to a situation where we will stifle government revenue and all that. But we are also having challenges with regards to our operations. And so we have to buy this really hard bullet to ensure we get our money to be able to maintain our system.
I see. That's why the question I asked was that clearly this was the last resort for you. And that was very clear in the question that I asked earlier, because as you have enumerated quite clearly, and the number of steps that you had to go through and the processes you had to employ prior to the decision you took to disconnect them. Now, has there been any indication from SIGA, for instance, that they're going to impress on the GRA to show commitment? Because you indicated you have reported the matter to them. So any indication as yet?
Right. So after our letter to them, they even came around to engage us at the head office of the National Identification Authority. And they promised us that they were going to assist us to get the money. Fortunately, as I indicated earlier, two of such institutions have shown commitment. That is the NHIA and Passport Office. SNIT used to also owe us, but they've also shown commitment and they are paying. Even DVLA, they've also shown commitment. But it does appear all our pleadings to the Ghana Revenue Authority over the months have fallen on deaf ear. And so we painfully have to take this route to get our money.
I see. Now, how much does the Passport Office owe you?
About $20 million USD.
$20 million.
Yes.
And then the NHIA?
That is about $58 million.
$58 million.
Yes.
And then you mentioned a third institution.
Yes, I mentioned SNIT. And
SNIT. How much does SNIT owe you?
No, for them they have started paying, and so we do not want to involve them in this.
So is that to mean that in the coming days, if there is no clear indication of commitment from the NHIA and also the Passport Office, you take the same decision of disconnecting them?
Yes, we sent a notice to them, a demand notice, 29th July, that is just last month, reminding them of their obligation to us, and then it responded positively. So we are hoping that by close of the month, at least, if not, offsetting all, they will pay something to show commitment that they are willing to pay. Because the truth is, we need to maintain our system. And so if institutions are owing us this much, we cannot continue to build that robust system we envisage.
Right. I see. And this debt you talk about, within which period does this cover?
Within 3 years.
So between 2021 and 2024?
Yes.
Okay. So, Ms. Awengobit, so that clearly gives you an idea of what the NIA has been dealing with and reason why they had to take the last resort of disconnecting the GRA from the identification system. After this,
Alfred, in this regard, GRA have shown them good faith, trust as a customer, but GRA has disappointed me and disappointed many Ghanaians. And one of the things that I raised the last time at one of our committee meetings was that some of these things, a mail, whether if I'm sure they will say that, look, it has to go through a system to get to the Commissioner General attention to work on it. Why are we on paperless? We need to give a mail, a digital system. Wherever the Commissioner General is, you should be able to see mails and respond to them quickly. It happens, it do affect importers here, that your container will go on UCL, you will have to put in a paper application, it has to go through from the registry, by the time it gets to the commissioner, it takes about weeks and days, and the importer end up paying demurrage. When we have ICOMs, when all these things can be put on application through email for you, wherever the person is can approve or disapprove. I am so sad that this has gotten to this far. I would applaud and their management for their patience enough. They have done a very good job. What is lacking is that GRA management have failed to respond to all their mails, and to the extent that they even have to report it to the speaker, and speaker step in, and still this thing is happening. It's a so sad day. It's a sad day for Ghana. This should have happened between government and private person, but not government to government. These two gentlemen were appointed to help John Mahama succeeded, delivered economic hardship, and people in the Ghanaians from economic hardship, and give us a new day, a new life. And so if one will have got appointment and then want to become a small god in his office and will not attend to even government institutions, what about we private sector if we put in our application or a request or asking them to respond to something? I am so sad and very sad as a Ghanaian that this is happening at this point in time. Numerous Ghanaians will suffer. People who have to go and verify in their bank will suffer. People who have to go and register a company will suffer. People who have to go on ICOM to process to clear their cargo will suffer. After this banter back and forth, if the importer runs to demolish and rent, will GRA Commissioner General, will GRA Management come to pay? I am so sad and so disgusting to have heard the report that chronicle report that the gentleman from NIA has given. If this is true, then GRA should bound their head in shame. And I expect the board chair of the GRA should act, because you cannot have managers who don't respect to meals, correspondent meals come to your office and you are not responding. How? In this modern day? No. And you have put everybody at risk. You have put us at risk. This is a risk. Because the person who's supposed to process to clear his cargo to avoid demurrage will have to go and demurrage. Okay. It's not the Commissioner General who will come to pay. It's so disgusting, and I'm so sad. President Mahama, please, then if you have to revoke somebody's appointment, he has to revoke somebody's appointment. Well, I am so sad. The gentleman at GRA is very calm, and Dr. Anthony, yes, Dr. Anthony. But I don't expect his office to operate in this way. Well, government, and it has gone to this far. No, I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Yes, the same Commissioner General, I'm sure since he came, he has been signing checks to pay SML. I'm sure since he came, KGL, they are paying them. And as they are there, they know about this thing. I am so sad. Minister of Finance must act now to salvage the issue. We cannot, tomorrow, we want to work. We cannot go tomorrow in this target again.
Thank you. Samson Nasaki Awingobit is Executive Secretary of the Importers and Exporters Association. They've been heavily impacted by what's happening at the ports right now as a result of the disconnection of the Ghana Revenue Authority from the identity verification platform by the National Education Authority. This is as a result of debts. 376 million CDs that the GRA owes the NIA. And the GRA is not alone. You've just heard the head of corporate affairs at the National Education Authority, William C. Emmanuel Poma Dallas, detail a number of public institutions that are also in debt with the National Education Authority. That's the Passport Office, the National Health Insurance Authority, and then also SNIT. All of them owe the National Education Authority millions of dollars from the figures that you've just been told right now. And talk about the operations of public institutions. We go back to our earlier story of what was a topical issue for the most part of last week when Paul Adomotri, the former board chair of the Ghana Airports Company Limited, was invited for questioning by the Special Prosecutor's Office. What's the latest on this Evatex matter?
Revenue assurance company Evatex Logistics Limited is rejecting Ghana Airport Company Limited GCL's decision to terminate a multi-million-dollar contract and has warned of legal consequences if the move is not reversed within 7 days. The dispute centers on a revenue assurance audit agreement signed between two parties on December 4, 2024 and subsequently terminated through a GCL letter dated July 28, 2025. The termination is to take effect on August 27, 2025, but the decision has triggered strong resistance from Evatex, which says it has already begun executing its mandate under the terms of the agreement.
Well, let's stay a bit further on this. And the man who led the entire process of even shining some light on this contract that was signed 3 days before Election Day, December 7, Manasseh Azure Awoni, who is an investigative journalist, is joining us on the telephone right now. Manasseh, good evening. Thank you for joining us.
Good evening, Alfred, and thanks for having me.
So this is the latest from the company. It says that it had started executing its mandate, and so they're demanding some $64.6 million from the Ghana Airports Company Limited. How does this come to you?
Well, that sounds very ridiculous. And I'm saying this because the parties involved in this contract appear to have cooked this deal knowing that it wasn't tidy. This company, which claims to have invested $64.6 million within this short period, for 3 years, recorded zero chargeable income. If you take their tax clearance, the only time they paid tax was for those 3 years was the year they got a contract, and they were charged a tax of 2,000 cedis, and they paid only 1,000 cedis. This company suddenly claims to have invested this much. This same company, for 2023, had no worker. If you look at the SNIT records, 2022 had no worker, and at the time of getting this contract, they had only one staff. So this appeared to be a dormant company that was brought in under very shady circumstances, because the company that did the presentation to the airports company board and they said they should award a contract to them was Deafness Systems. That company again met with the GACL, and then they discussed the fees to be charged. The board said proceed to award a contract to Deafness through a PPA approval. Then from the letter from GACL to PPA, it changes from Deafness Systems to Evatex. Evatex begins this contract, and you realize that it used FML workers to execute the contract. So a lot of things raised a lot of questions. And this same company we are talking about, we wrote to the Institute of Chartered Accountants, Ghana, and they said to do revenue assurance or auditing in Ghana, you need a license. And this company has no license. So between the board chairman who brought this deal, the airport company's managing director, Mrs. Yvonne Opare, and then the PPA CEO, Frank Mante, and then the company, Evatex CEO, Evans Eduse, I think they deserve to answer some critical questions that Ghanaians are asking, and I hope that the state security and prosecutorial bodies would take this matter seriously. I don't think we owe this company any such amount.
I see. So the airport company limited managing director, you say that she also has to answer some questions about this particular deal, because the only person we've seen being invited to answer questions is the former board chair, Paula Domotri, who had indicated that no money was lost or no revenue, as it were, gained through this entire arrangement. Manasseh.
Well, we are now getting to know that the company is demanding $64 million. As ridiculous as it is, they committed a state. But I sincerely believe that with the evidence I have, the person who wrote the letter to the PPA for the approval is the managing director. The same managing director signed the contract. The same managing director wrote to the company, Evatex, accepting the proposal the company presented. And those, the proposal, acceptance letter, and even the contract appear backdated. So, from what I know, it isn't true that the managing director wouldn't have questions to answer. My sources said that last week they hinted that she was going to appear before the OSP. That's yesterday, Monday. But I'm told there has been a rearrangement, so she's appearing tomorrow. The MD, Mrs. Yvonne Opare, will appear before the OSP tomorrow to also answer questions. And I think there are legitimate reasons to expect that she should answer questions, because she is very much involved in this deal.
I see. But taking into consideration this latest from the company, I'm talking about Evatex. If you read the letter that they issued today, they say that the paragraph 3 of that letter says that their client, and I'm quoting this verbatim, says our client has received this information to its utter dismay, given that it has heavily invested. These were their words in the letter. Heavily invested in the infrastructure tailor-made for the Ghana Airports Company Limited, pursuant to the agreement aforementioned. Furthermore, our clients considers the intention to terminate the said contract as actuated by bad faith and unreasonableness. That's what they say. And I say, that's how they capture this. And you say that they have no basis?
Well, if they have heavily invested, Ghanaians would want them to tell us what they bought that is worth $64.6 million. The airport company should know whatever machines that they brought there to install, that is worth $64.6 million. Any software that they have bought, that is worth $64.6 million. For a company that 3 consecutive years recorded zero chargeable income, that is only tax. Before it got this contract, it needed a tax clearance. It paid tax of only 1,000 Ghana cedis. That is about $100 for its tax. And all of a sudden, it says it invested $64.6 million. Of course, this is not air. It should show evidence. Remember, SML made similar claims about its investment in the contracts with the GRA. If you read the KPMG audit, that KPMG report said SML could not authenticate the claims it made about its investment. So any company can come and say, well, when I got this contract, I invested this amount. I think the state should be interested in where it got that money, evidence of the investment, and of course, if the company had that much money, why was it not paying tax? And this appeared to be a dormant company until it got a contract. So these are things that are easy to verify. I hear people saying that, look, when it comes to judgment debts, the people who connive with them to do, companies to do the deals often connive to get the money paid so that they get their cut. If you look at the Facebook comments, that's what people are saying. But I hope that this wouldn't be the case in this situation, that the states would stand up for our interest. And the people who went ahead to present themselves as auditors when they have no license from the Institute of Chartered Accountants, Ghana, should be facing the law. Because I believe that there must be accountability from all angles. And then those who are supposed to face the law shouldn't be those threatening to sue.
I do appreciate you on this, and we're going to be talking some more on this before end of day today. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Manasseh Azura is an investigative journalist who led the expose on this botched Evatex contract between that company and the Ghana Airports Company Limited. We'll keep an eye on how things are playing out. He says indicated that sources within the OSP have given information that the managing director of the Ghana Airports Company Limited, Yvonne Nana Efriye Opare, to appear before the special prosecutor on her role in this botched Evatex deal tomorrow. That's according to Manasseh Azura. So we'll keep an eye on how things are playing out on this. Let's get some more before we go to further business news.
The minority in parliament has rejected the new cocoa producer price announced by government for the next cocoa season, describing it as a deception and a fraud. The caucus observed the government is deliberately taking farmers for granted despite their contributions to the economy. They want the ministers of finance and agriculture to immediately render an apology for failing to honor their campaign promise.
Minister on Monday announced that the increment represents 70% of the gross free on board value of $7,200 per ton, one which aligns with President Mahama's promise to cocoa farmers. But the minority on the Food, Agric and Cocoa Affairs Committee would not have any of that. They have taken government to the cleaners and demanded justifications.
You agree with me that our hard-working cocoa farmers deserve better than this Sakawa price. Today, the Ivorian farmer at the current exchange rate is receiving the equivalent of 3,635 Ghana cedis per bag of 64 kilos, a staggering 407 Ghana cedis more than what Cocoa Board is paying. This stark difference presents an irresistible incentive for smugglers to divert Ghanaian cocoa across the border.
Whether or not the Ghana Cocoa Board is insolvent, the minority have a simple request. They want government to account for the revenue Cocoa Board made in the 2024-2025 season.
What they have failed to tell Ghanaians is how much revenue Cocoa Board had generated from cocoa sales in the 2024-25 season. Is that amount in excess of 3 billion? And at the time, the exchange rate was 15 Ghana cedis to $1. And I do that's in the Edenebo Ebemano. Apart from Bra, me wu ya, me yure ho pa no. And run it no crane America. And run it down, me yure ho pa. If you say,
the minority has urged the government to stop the lamentation and deliver its promises. Eric Opoku wants the Agric Minister to go back to the farmers and apologize to them. He also wants the Finance Minister, who controls the purse, to cough up money to redeem this promise which they made to the farmers. He believes that it is totally unacceptable to give the farmers such a raw deal.
Is this figure of 3,228.75 per bag, is it what His Excellency was referring to when he said cocoa farmers will be very, very, very happy when the producer price is announced in August? Honorable Eric Opoku will have to go back to Dadia Swaba and apologize unreservedly for his failed promise. Fortunately, Honorable Atufosen is now the Finance Minister. He controls the purse. He has to find the money to pay what he promised.
It is a conversation that will not settle anytime soon. Fused with politics, economic and welfare concerns, the perspectives will continue to differ. But in the end, how much the farmer takes home is all that matters.
Well, we've got the latest in the world of business and sports. Business with Bismarck Ewusa is up next.
Ghana, it's a new year and Bills Microcredit is here to support your dreams. If you're not working but want to start a business, don't let money stop you. With just your Ghana card, you can get a loan to turn your ideas into reality. Already running a business? Need more capital? Or are you a salary worker looking for extra funds? Bills offers fast and easy loans with no collateral, no deposit, and no SUSI savings required. Wherever you are, whatever you need, Bills makes it happen. Call Bills Microcredit today. Call 0596 920 833 or 0302 200 390 and get started. Bills is licensed and regulated by the Bank of Ghana. Bills, financing your needs. Terms and conditions apply.
Hello, good evening and welcome to the business segment on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7 with me, Bismarck Hausa. Coming up tonight, Ghana Private Road Transport Union, GPRTU, denies involvement in scheduled 20% transport fare hike effective Friday, August 8, 2025. Thanks for your company. And now to the details. The Ghana Private Road Transport Union, GPRTU, says it is not part of the scheduled transport fare hike. The Ghana Road Transport Coordinating Council has announced a 20% transport fare increase effective Friday, August 8, 2025. However, GPRTU's Public Relations Officer Alhaji Abbas Imoro states that the union's leadership will meet tomorrow to discuss the matter as they do not recognize the move.
That is coming from GRTCC. We are not part of that. Normally, the two of us sign a communique, but I believe they are seriously into politics this time, so they went solo.
But do they have legitimate concern from where you sit?
No, not at all. Until our leadership speaks, we shall dwell on what our leadership says.
Should leadership even agree to an increment? Do you think 20%?
We are not part of what GRTCC come up with. We are not part of that.
And that was Public Relations Officer of the GPRTU, Alhaji Abbas Imoro. Before we go, Fitch Solutions is projecting a stable outlook for the Ghana cedi through 2025 and 2026, citing strong external buffers and favorable commodity prices as key drivers. According to the UK-based research firm, the local currency is expected to maintain its recent strength on the back of the Bank of Ghana's robust gross international reserves, currently standing at $7.9 billion and elevated gold prices. In its Q3 2025 Sub-Saharan Africa macroeconomic update titled, "What Our Clients Want to Know," Fitch Solutions noted that while the current dynamics favor the cedi, potential risks tied to commodity price volatility, particularly gold, could threaten the outlook. And that brings us to the end of the business news on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7 with me, Bismarck Hausa. For more business stories, please check out our website, 3news.com. Thanks for your company.